today I'm going to be trying out a new list that I found from someone called Yara on the Discord. They are a pretty creative deck builder, so I took their list card for card, and it's called Necromancy because it specifically involves getting characters, either yours or an opponent's, back from the extras pile, which is not really something that we interact with much in the game outside of this specific set of cards. This is someone who I connected with on the Discord, and we're going to be playing a few games today. Given my hand here, because I always want to look at my hand with this deck because Richard Spade deals with playing tropes. However, these tropes, they mess around with characters in the extras. So I think that the general plan here would be to get some stuff started, get some characters started with a different lead, and that's either the Godfish or Jaw Z here. And then when you're trying to complete your second lead, toss out Richard Spade, play a bunch of tropes, use those tropes to generate a board and narrative on your Richard Spade. So here we both put a shield on the Jaw Z. The Pacifist is an adventure character, and I believe Jaw Z is an adventure lead. Yeah, so the Pacifist is a really strong card overall, but you need to be playing an adventure lead to use it. So I put the shield on my Godfish. They put their shield on their Jaw Z. So I have a Snoopy Reporter. Now, Snoopy Reporter doesn't have a great combo with Godfish because then the Reporter has Provoke, and my opponent can just target it. So, on the other hand, the Godfish gains narrative from characters entering. So I really want to try to take out the Jaw Z, but I cannot attack 3 times. I think one of them is going to attack the Rap Battle Host. So I will just send in... I'll undo that. I'm going to send in this. And I don't think it's a particularly strong turn, but I did almost time out. And attacks interrupt other attacks. Brainwash frees 4 random enemies by 3. So since my my Rap Battle host got frozen before his attack landed, he did not get to attack. And now none of my characters can attack, which means his Jaw Z is safe for a while. So overall, I think I'm in a pretty unfortunate state because I'm not going to be able to proactively hit my opponent's characters. On the other hand, I can just put in another lead here. And Jaw Z likes to perform, so I will toss in this crew that I had before one of my lead characters, and I picked Jaw Z because there isn't really a great character in extras to summon back. Jaw Z also, when he performs, he generates 2 extra narrative, so there should be a pretty good path for me to complete one of my leads. Now, those 2 lost Provoke. Blackmore, the crew here, says spend a frame to discard a card, then draw a card. Now, Blackmore's in the list to get your own characters in hand into the extras so that you can return them cheaply, but I don't really have any big character in my hand. Now, Jaw Z's so close to finishing that there's no point in trying to kill him anymore. So let's go with the Bouncer and then try to perform. So I think that performing late reduces my vulnerability to the performance being interrupted. There is a feature here, a rock, paper, scissors type feature, where if somebody is dodging and the opponent performs, then the dodge is stopped and I believe the character gets frozen. But we can see from the preview up here that my opponent does not plan to dodge at all. So they complete their Jaw Z, they actually generate a couple free narrative, and then they're going to bring in the chicken. Now, I don't know, I can't imagine who they would want to bring back out, but I think that the tag in was more relevant to get Pacifist back in hand and put another shield on there. Yeah, so the Backstreet Bouncer has a lot of effects, but It basically means that the Backstreet Bouncer means that he attacks whoever's played, and then he takes the damage in return. So that's why the Tri-Horn was a pretty good pick there, because it dealt 7 back to my Backstreet Bouncer. However, the Tri-Horn only has Provoke at full HP, so I can get his chicken, except that I don't have anyone who has 4 attack themselves. So I do think that's a problem, but I feel like the Tri-Horn is just going to attack my Jaw Z. So I can dodge. Alright, here's what I'll do. I'll have the Jaw Z dodge. Ideally, it will stay alive. And then have Snoopy Reporter go in, and then perform with the Rap Battle Host. I think there is a fair chance they try to kill the Rap Battle Host instead. And that is what happens. So they use the chicken to kill the Rap Battle Host, which means that my choice to perform with it is wasted. But also, unfortunately, the chicken got 2 attacks in. And like I said, this is why you would bring back the Pacifist. So I get to send one of these into extras temporarily, and feel like the Brainwash would be pretty devastating, because freezing means you can't perform. Well, I really tried to select the Brainwash there, but I don't know why it didn't highlight it. Okay, so all of my characters are frozen, which means they can't perform. And the chicken only needs to get 3 more narrative stars, which could easily be gotten from normal attack, which would get 2, and then any performance. So how do I stop my opponent from attacking or performing? And that would be some kind of freeze effect, which I don't run in this deck. And well, I'm running out of time, so I will just try something here where if they were going to hit my Jaw Z, they don't. However, my opponent saw through that and attacked the 3 health Pacifist character, and then performed with both of their available characters, so that ideally it didn't get interrupted. So those were some pretty smart plays from my opponent, and I definitely learned this game that the freeze effects that are tropes can really disrupt me when my opponent plays them. Okay, so I have only 1 trope in hand, which makes Spade not so great. So I'm going to go with Jaw Z and then these 2 cards. So I like that I have some Provoke for my Jaw Z, and I sent in the Bouncer instead of the Clubber, but that's because I wanted 2 extra characters out on the scene. Now, we do have to watch out for this Deviant Croc Barnaby. When it unfreezes for the first time, I am forced to discard a card. So we can assume that my opponent will pick my strongest card. And I feel like right now that's probably the Rap Battle Host, but Fight Clubber is a pretty close second. And so for someone to get through to my Jaw Z, they would have to attack the Fight Club Provoker. So I'm going to perform with the Jaw Z and then perform with the Pacifist. And actually, then I'm going to tag in. I didn't see this before I started playing the turn, but I'm going to use tag in on the Backstreet Bouncer. He'll come back to my hand, and I'll be able to put out the Fight Clubber at a cost to me of just the 1 frame. Fight Clubber is a 3 frame cost, so I think it's really strong here.
Who's next?
So I think that my pacifist got frozen, which, since she was frozen by a trope in advance, she's not allowed to perform. Okay, there's a timer going down. Oh, it's for my opponent. So the reason that the game kind of felt stalled for me was that my opponent was choosing which card to discard with his rock that awoke. So he chose the bouncer, which is, not the bouncer, the rap battle host, which is what I would have chosen too, which is why I tried to get the rap battle host onto the battlefield. We can see that that didn't quite work, and also my Jaw Z is frozen. So it's going to be a little difficult for me to gain a star in order to trigger the Wise Wing here. So instead, I'm going to... I also can't kill the Jaw Z, since the Fight Clubber only has 4 attack. So let's try this. And then I will take my bouncer back via the sudden reveal trope.
Don't stop. Keep on filming.
So we see that my opponent gave someone a block. Oh yeah, to pick. And I'm surprised they gave it to the striped OG. Because I figure you would want to protect your lead more, but maybe my opponent thinks that their lead is so close to being narrative arc complete that they'll just keep... Okay, so they're going to gain 3 stars from the Jaw Z and finish the narrative, yeah, so... they didn't need to keep Jaw Z on the board long term. And when my opponent summons their next lead character, that character is going to kick Jaw Z off the board. 2 rap battle hosts. Alright, honestly, the freezing of my characters here was very valuable to my opponent, and I don't think I've experienced that so far. Alright, so... the Godfish says another friendly character enters, gain a narrative. So I guess I will put out the Godfish and then perform twice. I'm a little worried about performing here with the Fight Clubber because if any character is attacked while it's performing, the performance is canceled. But we can see up here at the top, nobody's attacking at all. So my performances will go off, then I'll be able to summon the rap battle host. But wow, honestly, having the frog on 5 already is huge. So I'm not even in the spotlight, but if my opponent can give any 1 star to the frog before I kill the frog, it's game over for me. I'm not in the spotlight. This is going to be pretty tough, but I guess we have to attack the frog as soon as possible, and then perform. I don't think this game is going very well for me, and I'm probably about to lose. So, it looks like... I don't know why I didn't... So I can't see this trope. One thing I would like added is an easier way to get the trope, or get the action that was done in the frame up on the screen, because I can't tell what this thing is. But as I said, since I couldn't kill the frog in time, I lost. Okay, we are going to play that opponent again. And I'm going to run the same deck and try to get a few reps in with it, because what I experienced was that it's pretty hard to get my own stuff, or even my opponent's stuff, big things, into the extras pile. So here, what I'm looking at is that I have a couple of 2s and 1s. My opponent is this time playing a Donald McDoom, Jaw Z, Rexa deck. So that probably has attackers and bigger characters. which means that the Wise Wing may not be the best. And unfortunately, the Bouncer has Splinter, so he will take return damage. Let's do Jawsy, Pacifist, Bouncer. And I expect that the Bouncer will get sent into extras fairly rapidly. And then I'll be able to use this sudden reveal on it. So as a reminder here, sudden reveal takes any character from extras to the set under my control. So that could be my opponent's or my own. Now, unfortunately, the dinosaur has 5 attack, which is really chunky for an early character. So it wiped out my Backstreet Bouncer completely. That was the risk that I identified. Now, he's going to try, my opponent is going to try to land attacks. With the dinosaur's 5, he can take out the Jawsy completely. So let's do Noir Thinking, and then dodge. And then I can't do anything with just 1 frame left. Yep, so they popped my shield. And then I will have to choose one of these to discard. And as a reminder, if it's a character, I'll be able to pull it back. So let's send away the Prospector. I really don't think I can afford to play a 1/3 Prospector at this point, maybe with the sudden reveal. And then the dodge here you saw allows me to not take damage from the attacking lieutenant. And then the lieutenant gets frozen, which all characters do. Standard attack costs 2 frames and freezes you for 2 scenes. There are some special abilities. If you look at this Pingoon, for example, spend 2 frames, it attacks with only a 1 scene cooldown. So if there are non-standard attack patterns, it lists it on the card. Now, I drew another Prospector, and the Prospector draws 1 card from your deck. It's your choice, but he costs 3 frames and is only a 1/3. Now, I have to deal with this dino somehow. The Bouncer will begin to trade with anyone I put in. So I'm going to have to do... Oh, and the Bouncer has Provoke. So Provoke means I have to send somebody into the Bouncer first. And that makes this really tough. Because the dinosaur is going to be able to attack me. So I'm going to play Sudden Reveal. I'm going to dodge again. And then I can't do anything else with my 1 frame. Except I could summon the Godfish, but... I'm going to go with the Prospector. I'm really just trying to find something bigger in my deck here. I mean, Rat Battle Host is okay. He's only a 3/4. And then, well, I forgot that the entrance, even from extras, caused the Bouncer to trade with it. So I did land a dodge here on the Pingoon, and the Dino traded with my Pacifist. So, luckily I didn't try to perform with my Pacifist. I felt like that was one of my options here, but if I had tried to perform, the attack would have interrupted it. Alright, I found myself another Pacifist. She only costs 1 frame, but I'm not sure if it's worth it to give the block to this 1/1 at this point Prospector. If I had a Bouncer out right now, I would have killed the Pingoons as they were summoned. Do I think that my opponent will play out more small guys? Yes. And I think they will try to go for the Jawsy. So if I send in a different lead here, then the Jawsy, anything that targets the Jawsy this turn will not land. So my opponent decided to attack with both of their 1/1 Pingoons, one of which hit the Prospector. That's okay. I don't particularly care about a 1/1 leftover Prospector. But each attack that lands gives the Rexa 1 star. So I'm finding it really tough to keep up here. the Godfish gains his own stars when another character enters, and I really don't think it's realistic for me to enter as many characters as are attacking. However, it just means enters the scene. I think the board is called a scene in the game. So cards like Sudden Reveal and Still Alive and Kickin' will trigger this, which is nice. I don't know if it's worth it to send Wise Wing into one of the 1/1s. So, and I really don't think anything in extras is big enough to make Sudden Reveal or Alive and Kickin' worth it. So let's go with Reporter and Rap Battle Host just because they're the biggest. Now, usually I want to get Rap Battle Host in for free, but I don't think I have the space to perform this game. So get anyone from my opponent's hand into extras. Well, it doesn't matter. I forgot about the bouncer, but the bouncer here will trade into my Snoopy Reporter, and then my opponent will get that card right back. So I kind of wasted all of that frames and time and stuff. The only benefit I gained was the narrative on the Godfish for having a character enter, but I'm pretty sure that my opponent's Rexa got a narrative due to the bouncer attacking. So since they thought they would complete their Rexa, they send in the Donald McDoom. And as a brief reminder, the goal of the game is to finish 2 of your leads narratives before your opponent finishes 2 of theirs. So you can see in my bottom corner here, I'm halfway on the fish and hardly anywhere on the other 2, and my opponent just has to get 1 of their 2 up to 8. And McDoom, since my opponent is in the spotlight, which you can see in the corner, any character, actually it's just play a card, so tropes or characters, or an attack is landed, they gain a narrative. So this is going to be a big round for my opponent. I'll send the Pacifist in, and then might as well send in the Prospector. And then I will do a trope as well, just because I'm trying to finish my Godfish as quickly as possible. I think the only way that I win is to finish the Godfish pretty much at all costs, let my opponent dictate the attack trades for the moment. And so finish the Godfish, and then build someone else up. Oh, right.
Sorry.
Oh, I forgot about this. So the card Still Alive and Kickin'. Oh, my bad. All right, so who's the biggest here? I guess it's the Bouncer. I mean, none of these are particularly big, which is sad. But the first thing I did was the Prospector. So the Prospector drew me a Bouncer, and then I also chose a Backstreet Bouncer from extras to come in. So, like I said, this could prove tough, except that McDoom only gains narrative while my opponent is in the spotlight. And now my opponent did get 4 out of 8 in that spotlight alone. There are 2 provokes. So the best thing I could do would be to kill the McDoom right now. I have 6 frames, which means 3 attacks, which means it's not possible. Given that I have to hit both bouncers here. Even though sending in my bouncer would probably take 2 from both of my opponent's bouncers, I still think I would not be able to target the McDoom. But let's just do it. I think I don't have much choice. Draw Z, and then perform with the, well, I ran out of time. So here, I knew I would complete the Godfish, so that's good. And then I think both of my opponent's bouncers will trade into my bouncer. That would kill the first one and leave the other one on 1 health. Now, a Wise Wing in this scenario would be able to pop McDoom's shield. Oh, interesting. My opponent's bouncer, since it's frozen, does not trade with me. We see that it is still frozen by 1. So I think I'm happy to have taken out my opponent's backstreet bouncer, but we can see that since my opponent performed 3 times, they're only 1 narrative away from winning. And now that they're back in the spotlight, McDoom says any character, whenever you play a card, so I would have to kill McDoom before my opponent plays any card, and that is pretty much impossible. Maybe if there was a trope that landed in the first frame that, banished a lead character or something, but I don't know if that exists, and I certainly don't have it in my hand. So I guess the only thing to do is assume that my opponent will make some mistakes and try to make the best out of it. Yeah, so actually they played a first frame, single frame trope, which completed them in Doom right away. So there was nothing I could have possibly done at that point in the game. Okay, so that was my first look at the Necromancy archetype put together by Yara. I think that where it struggled was paying the 2 frames for all of the tropes that brought back cards, which were medium-sized. It would be much more useful, in my opinion, to have some of the larger characters that cost 4 frames or 5 frames, get them out, force them to die somehow, and then bring them back with the cheaper cards. That would make the investment more worth it, I think. Now, the risk there is that then I would be spending 4 and 5 frames early in the game to just bring out some big chunky things that don't really advance my own game plan. You have to remember that the goal of the game is to complete narrative, not just to have big things on the board, and actually not even to hurt the opponent. There's no health total that you have to hit, so big characters don't really support the win condition of the game the same way as in other card games. So I think we will come back to this deck at some point, but that's all I have for it today.